Are you doing the same thing over and over again? Every morning, the same commute, the same train, the same cup of coffee. Today looks just like yesterday. But what if that cycle never ended? What if it went on forever? Today, we're talking about one of the most fascinating figures in Greek mythology. A man condemned to roll a boulder up a mountain for eternity. His name is Sisyphus, and this isn't just an old myth. It cuts right to the heart of what it means to be alive. So how did Sisyphus end up with this punishment? And what does that rolling boulder have to say about our own lives? Let's get into it. Sisyphus was the king of Corinth, and he was known for one thing. Above all else, his cunning. He was sharp, clever, and always one step ahead. But that cleverness had a shadow side. According to the myth, Sisyphus revealed one of Zeus's secrets. He told the river god Sisyphus where Zeus had taken his daughter, Aegina, and in return, he received a freshwater spring for his city. Whatever version you follow, the point is the same. Sisyphus crossed a line the gods had drawn, and the gods did not take kindly to mortals who overstepped. Zeus sent Thanatos, the god of death, to drag Sisyphus down to the underworld. But that's where things get unexpected. Sisyphus didn't go quietly. He captured Thanatos and chained him up. And with death literally in chains, nobody on earth could die anymore. Soldiers fell in battle and got back up. The elderly lingered on, unable to pass. The natural order completely fell apart. Zeus was furious. Ares eventually freed Thanatos, and Sisyphus was finally taken away. But he still had one more trick up his sleeve. Before he died, Sisyphus had quietly told his wife not to give him a proper burial. So when he arrived before Hades, he played the grieving husband. "My wife left my body unburied," he said. "Just give me one day to return to the surface. Punish her, and I'll come right back." Hades believed him. Sisyphus walked out into the sunlight and never looked back. He had cheated death not once, but twice. To the gods, that was an unforgivable insult. So this time, the gods gave him a punishment he couldn't escape. A massive boulder, a steep mountain, and an eternity to push that rock all the way to the top. Sisyphus strains and sweats, pushing with everything he has. The summit gets close. He can almost touch it. And then the boulder rolls back down. Every single time, he starts again from the bottom. Over and over, forever. The cruelest part wasn't the physical effort. It was the cycle of hope and collapse. Every push carried the promise that this time might be different. And every time, just before the top, it fell apart. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. French philosopher Albert Camus looked at this myth and saw something completely different. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, he didn't see Sisyphus as a victim. He saw something more complicated. Camus wrote, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy." What does that mean? Think about the moment the boulder falls. Sisyphus walks back down the mountain. That walk, however brief, belongs entirely to him. The gods can control his punishment, but they can't control his mind. By fully accepting his fate, by owning it, rather than being crushed by it, Sisyphus claims a kind of victory over the gods themselves. That, Camus says, is what makes us human. The refusal to give up our inner freedom, even when everything around us is out of our control. So let's bring this closer to home. What boulder are you pushing right now? The same commute, the same inbox, the dishes you washed yesterday. Already piled up again. We all have our version of the mountain. The question isn't whether the boulder will roll back down. It will. The question is what you do with that walk back to the bottom. Camus would say the goal was never to reach the top and stay there. The meaning is in the pushing itself. The reason you get up every morning. The quiet determination to keep learning, to keep going. Even when nothing seems to change. That is where the real significance lives. There's another layer to this story worth sitting with. Sisyphus was brilliant, but he trusted his own cleverness. So completely that he thought the rules didn't apply to him. And that's where things went wrong. Intelligence is genuinely valuable. But the moment it turns into the belief that you're above consequences, it becomes something dangerous. We see this pattern everywhere. People who use their talent or position to bend the rules end up paying a much heavier price in the end. Sisyphus outsmarted death twice. but the cost was an eternity. We tend to remember Sisyphus as a symbol of tragedy. But there's something else in his story too. He never accepted the fate handed to him without a fight. He pushed back against forces far more powerful than himself until the very end. That drive, that refusal to simply lie down, is something worth recognizing. Not as a blueprint to follow, but as a reflection of something deeply human. The stubborn, imperfect, sometimes self-destructive will to keep going. The boulder is still rolling. And in a way, so are we. Every time it falls and we walk back down. Frustrated and tired, but not finished. That moment is its own quiet kind of strength. Your daily grind, your repeated efforts. Your return to the bottom after every setback. That's not just suffering, that's the story. And inside that story, if you look closely enough, you'll find something that might just be meaning.